Thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to show you how to change the extension springs on your garage door. We don't often think about our garage door springs, but it's something that you should check just when you're out in the garage, pulling your car in, out there working, whatever it is you do. Just take a look along the spring and look for something that doesn't look right. If the bends are a little bit out of whack in one spot or another, that means that the spring is starting to wear and it needs to be changed. It's a pretty simple job to change the extension springs on your garage door. They're color coded, so hopefully you'll be able to look at your garage door springs and see the color that's on them, and you'll know what kind of springs you need to replace them with. I insulated my garage doors and I never changed the springs for the added weight. So I'm going to weigh my door and I'll show you how to do that right now. If you still have springs on your door, you're going to need to disconnect them to weigh them. And the first step in removing your springs is to raise the door up. The higher you can get the door, the better. And once you get it up, you want to lock some vice grips onto it or somehow block the door from moving once you get it up. Once you have the door up, there should be no tension on the springs or very little, and you should be able to pretty easily just unhook it. And you should always have a safety cable running through your spring. If this spring snaps, especially with the door in the down position, this spring is going to go flying if you don't have this cable in here. Put a hole in your windshield, through your wall, or hit you. And normally you can just untangle this cable and pull it out. It's usually just wrapped around and tied a little bit. If you don't have one of these cables, when you go to get your new springs, definitely get some cable for it. And this pulley goes towards the garage door, and you should be able to just unhook the spring from that. And then slide the cable the rest of the way out. Well, it's pretty easy to take these off. Let me do the other side. Once you have both springs off, you're going to take your vice grips off and lower your door down. It's going to be a lot heavier than it was with the springs. So either get some help, just be prepared for it. And keep an eye on your cables, make sure they don't get tangled or hooked on your stuff that's hanging on your walls. I'm just going to use this bathroom scale to weigh my garage door, but my apron's a little bit lower than the floor. They're normally like that to keep rain from coming in. So I'm going to put a piece of plywood on the apron and put the scale so it's halfway on the floor and halfway on this plywood, so the garage door will be centered on the scale, and that way I can get the proper reading, because you don't want these, especially the digital ones, sitting crooked and pressure not being on all the feet. And you want the door to hit right about in the center of the scale. And I'm going to put this on here so I don't scratch it up and get in trouble. That can't be right. There's no way in hell I can lift 800 pounds. Here's another tip for you. Don't try this with a digital scale. I broke it, so I had to run out and get one of these. It's like $15. All right, looks like I'm around 120 pounds. So I'm gonna go out and get the springs for a 120-pound door. Be right back. I have the garage door down. It's a little easier for me to get the shot, and you may even find it a little easier to put yours together this way, but you're not going to be able to hook up the spring. So just keep that in mind. So I'm going to hook up the spring now, and then I'll raise the door up. The new spring that I have has two wraps where it hooks to the pulley, so I'm not going to be able to just hook it on. So I need to take the bolt out of the pulley. Put the little loop through there. And you want the bolt facing to the outside of the track so it doesn't get hung up on the safety cable or anything like that. So I'm going to put the bolt through like this and put the nut on the back side. Okay, and in case your cables pop off, the way they work is you have a cable here that runs down to the bottom of the door, and it runs over this pulley, comes out to this pulley here, around, and goes back. Usually there's an S-hook or some way of attaching it back to the frame over here. So then when this pulls, it'll lift the door up. But like I said, you're not going to be able to get the spring on with the door down. Let me put the spring on the other side and raise the door up. With the door locked in the upright position, make sure you have your cables going where they're supposed to. Remember, the one at the bottom of the door goes up and over the pulley that's up against the wall. Goes through the pulley on the other end of the spring, and then you just hook this side on. And you should be good to go. Let me give it a shot. Much easier. Once you're finished, don't forget to lubricate all your pulleys and the wheels that go on the tracks. And remember, the track itself doesn't get lubricated, just the bearings on the little pins that stick out into the side. If you have any comments, please put them down below. Questions, whatever it is, whether it's about this or something else. Thanks for watching.